From the very conception of our beloved planet Earth, we have seen everything from empires rising and falling to movements that changed the world. We have cured diseases, elevated above the ground without our own wings, built monumental structures, and gave birth to artists who will go down in history for their talent and effect on popular culture as we know it today. But do you know what else we've been doing for centuries? We've been drinking milk. And so how about we evolve milk drinking into the next logical step? Milk wearing. If you go to the description right now, you can get yourself a t-shirt or hoodie for milk in multiple colors and for male and female sizes. So whenever you wear it out in public, you'll forever keep that age-old question alive. Got milk? Milk! It's time for a video on Toy Story Racer. Greetings and salutations, my beautiful people, and welcome to the Caddicarus show, where I always have to do the dirty deed of deciding whether or not things deserve to be stolen or salvaged! The year 1995 gave us Toy Story, the first completely computer-animated feature-length film ever made, and also the feature-length directorial debut of John Lasseter. For better or worse. Although he is coming back for Toy Story 4, so maybe he can save that. Especially if it's as good as Toy Story 1. Yeah, Toy Story 1 has dated just about as well as that jar of pickles you forgot about in the fridge. You should probably go and check it, thank me later. But mid-90s CGI aside, the film holds up unbelievably well, and I still think it's a stronger movie than Toy Story 3, despite it being the first of a brand new IP that could have flopped if you weren't sold on the characters straight away, and with it being one of the biggest cinematic risks of the time. The surprising levels of dark themes for a kids film, the use of dramatic colors that match each scene's specific mood, making the same locations feel completely different just from how they're saturated and filmed, the tight scripting with tons of heart and dry humor, the flawed yet relatable characters, and the hateable yet realistic characters. There's so much to love about Toy Story 1, and it was definitely a monster hit for more reasons than just those magical computer graphics, and it kickstarted the now legendary status of Pixar animation. So of course the obvious question arose, what do you do with a movie that's a character study about a group of toys that come to life when no one's looking at them, and there's a slightly sociopathic cowboy toy that craves and feeds off the attention of the child that owns him, and so a new toy comes along and the cowboy gets extremely jealous about that and considers killing him, but it completely fails since he gets found out about it, and so gets outcasted by the rest of the toys and ends up stuck and lost with the one toy that he absolutely hates, and then gets captured by the psychopathic next door kid neighbor who wants to destroy both of them? The fucking kart racer. Yeah, what else did you expect? I know there are some Toy Story games that are definitely games as far as I could see, but this is a special one. Toy Story Racer came out in 2001 when Toy Story 2 was already 2 years old. And it's not a tie-in, and it's not a sellout game at the height of the popularity for Toy Story 2. It's just a PS1 kart racer based on the universe and characters from the first movie. Got a problem with that? Maybe it was supposed to be tied in with the original movie but went through development hell and missed the essential sellout date, or maybe Traveller's Tales actually cared about their product and wanted it to be top quality and so deliberately gave corporate executives a finger to have the game be of a certain quality before releasing it. Or maybe the team just wanted to make a game that they wanted to make whenever they wanted to and however they wanted to make it, I don't know, but whatever happened, the game is really fucking good because of it. Yeah? You surprised about that? I mean, I did really love playing this game when I was a stupid little kiddie wink, but you can't judge and base the quality of anything that you thought was great when you were a stupid little kiddie wink, and you know why that is? Because you were a stupid little kiddie wink. So even I was really surprised to see myself that this game, after all these years, still holds up really damn well. And I'm saying that even knowing that this used to be one of the hardest games I'd ever played up to that point, and it would make my 7-year-old self shit in frustration. And then I'd have to clean it out of the carpets, which made me even more frustrated, and I'd shit again. The AI in this game really hates everybody who tries to go up against it, especially children, who you can argue are the main target audience for a game about little Bo Peep and a horny cowboy. If you were younger and had this game, in order to have any chance at all, you'd have to practice your little ass off. It was annoying as hell being that young and needing to put the work in, but not only is it so satisfying to get it right that it's worth it on the feeling of the driving alone, but yeah, I'd argue it's kind of necessary, because even I, as an adult, needed a few minutes to get around the unbelievably unique control style. The weird thing though is that it's one of the most fun and incredibly zippy kart racers I've ever played. It just does take a few minutes to get your head around it. It doesn't play like any other kart racer, and you could argue that doesn't make it too accessible, but fuck off! There's nothing wrong with a bit of challenge and something different. This game doesn't play like go-karts and more similar to Micro Machines games, but on a bigger 3D scale. The cars all bounce around, slip and slide without any drift mechanics, have extremely quick acceleration and not crazy top speeds to accommodate that, turn unbelievably smoothly and tightly to make the bouncing and slippy sliding all the more enjoyable and manageable if you don't panic, slick, and the maneuverability is off the charts with how quickly you can fix mistakes and master the horrible corners without ever letting go of accelerate. I know most of what I said sounds a little bit negative there, but in this case it really isn't. It's really hard to explain. It's not like you can't drive straight and there's no grip at all. Look, there is. Look, just small taps and you can see the back of the car catching up with the front. But it's extremely loose and it's really free-formed and very fucking like moon buggy-ish. It's so much fun. The bounciness and slippiness aren't there as a hindrance. They're built into the mechanics of the stages and work alongside everything else the game does to make it just feel different. And yeah, it does take a second to grasp, but once you get it, there is something so satisfying about being able to drift and slide around without any preconceived jump into a drift. Everything Toy Story Racer does is based on reactions within the moment in every stage, not a little bit before, not a little bit after. Things can change in your favor and out of your favor every second, and everything from the 3D multi-surface tracks, shortcuts, power-ups, and other racers around you smacking into you and bouncing you all over the place can make you change your approaches all the time. I guess that's one of the reasons it was so bloody difficult for a kid like me. You can donut in this game just by holding accelerate and one directional button and nothing else. It's very risk and reward based in that sense, and there's nothing wrong with that kind of challenge. Many shortcuts require mastery of the subtle little physics and motions with how the cars drive, and if you aren't 100% with how they will react to a shortcut, or not 100% with how you'll be able to safely speed through them, then don't take the risk. But if you do take the risk and it pays off from your practice, you feel exactly like how the God of Mercury feels. Like hot shit. It tries harder to replicate actual RC cars than anything else, which makes perfect sense with them all being toys. Hell, if the actual RC car in the game drove and controlled like Crash Team Racing, it would not only feel totally unnatural, but it also wouldn't work around the clever and inventive multi-layered and multi-pathway track designs. Before we do that though, in the last episode, putting the Simpsons wrestling disc into my PC to have a look at the game files, I thought was really, really fun. So do you know what? We should do it with Toy Story Racer as well. Oh, fuck. So the files for the races themselves are here, and the film favourite characters all appear. Look, we have Bo Peep, and Buzz, and Rex, and Slinky, and Woody, and Pothead. Wait, what? Pothead? Pothead? Who's that? Is that supposed to be Andy in Toy Story 3 because he's a college kid acting like a fucking baby at the end of the film in complete unsolicited cringe? Or was it... Oh, I get it. Oh, that makes a lot more sense. I know it all along. Look, I'm Picasso. Anyway, levels. Yeah, they're awesome here. What you have here are stages that are not built like racetracks that are themed and decorated around the source material like they are in CTR or Mario Kart even. Instead, they actually use locations from the film mostly and are just places, like regular human-sized places, and you are tiny toys whizzing through all of them. Again, it feels like Micro Machines in that sense and feels way more exciting and different than anything else. And it's more commendable towards the designers as well. They didn't just make racetracks here, but what's closer to platforming levels that are compatible with smaller cars. Like you're racing through a house and it doesn't feel like you're racing on a track in a house. You're actually going through the house. And there's so many twists and turns on the horizontal plane and passages, stairs, and vents on the vertical plane to keep things constantly engaging. Even outdoors, there are speed bumps and ramps everywhere for cars to drive up, and there's just all sorts of stuff. And it can get a little confusing at times, but have no fear because there are plenty of guideposts for you if there are no distinct funnels to direct you. And with all of these grounded and more relatable locations, it can also be very imaginative. Like instead of ice alone being in your ice physics stage, well, how about tiled floors instead? Oh, and backyard grass is bumpy as shit. Oh, don't get me started on the fucking snow stage. It's really small and it's just a circle, but still, it's not easy to drive on. I love the stairs in this game though, because obviously cars that small won't be able to get up each individual step, so just fuck it. Make the zigzag slides. I also like how with certain shortcuts, the shortest distance route is often the trickiest to navigate, but the longer and safer distance route has boosts to help other people catch up to you. It's a nice compromise to make and puts a little more pressure on the players that don't want to risk the shortcut. If you want to stay in the game, then you better get that boost on the longer track. Or you can just say fuck you to the game and decide to use a shortcut 1 second, jump back into the long route for a boost, and then scoot right back into the shortcut again. That shit feels good! And there are a lot of levels that allow you to do that. We're in a skate park with toys. Tiny hawks. You know, it's just occurred to me. All of this positivity is being spewed towards not only an obscure kart racer, but one that's based off of a children's movie that has nothing to do with kart racing that came out years after the original film it was based on came out. This game has every right to suck. How the fuck is it doing any of this? I've never seen anything like this before. I've played so many different movies. Oh, sorry, me. I can't hear you over this game's soundtrack because of how... Alright, it is, I suppose. It's serviceable. Like a car. But the funny thing is how similar to Stuart Little 2 on PS1 it sounds. Eerily similar, actually. Give it a listen. Reality. Orange. Reality. Unless they were done by the same composer. No, fuck you, I don't know. You know what music I'd like to have on this game, though? Woody. Oh, and the voices are all good. We have Tim Allen as Buzz, good stuff. And even Tom Hanks comes in to play as Woody himself.
Is that you?
No, it's my brother Jim. Computer games and video things. Jim he works on those all year long.
How dare you lie to me?
The rest of the sounds are cool though. Characters shout at and insult each other as they overtake and smack each other around. Sound effects for hits connecting and bumping around are great. And they even get the sound of the electric RC wheels speeding up to crazy when they haven't got the friction of the ground to propel the car forward. It sounds really silly, I know, but details like that make you feel like you're driving an RC car and more like you're in the air whenever you are in the air. Game feel. It's just as important as your mum is with giving birth to you. Visuals are pretty splendid too. The movie locations are instantly recognizable, and there are details from the first movie everywhere, like Sid's dog watching you in any of Sid's stages, and in Sid's house itself, you can go ridiculously off the beaten path and find the TV set in the film that Buzz eventually discovers and sees his own advert in, which ends up turning him into this. Etch-a-Sketch turns into your guidepost if you're going the wrong way, and in the shopping mall, there's a Toy Story movie cardboard cutout, which, wait, hold up. So in the universe of Toy Story, they have their own movie that they can watch about themselves. Is Toy Story a non-fiction documentary in this world then? Do the humans know that the toys actually come to life because they have to film the movie with cameras, or are they just state-of-the-art animatronics? Does this mean that every single toy we see are advanced animatronics then? Why the fuck are they promoting their own movie within their own movie world?
I don't get it.
You uncultured swine! What are you looking at, you fuck?
The power-ups are even from the film. As weapons, you get Bo Peep's sheep, the bouncy ball from the film, the magic 8-ball that gives Woody the idea to trap Buzz, and even Sid's rocket.
When am I gonna blow? The big one.
Well, that wasn't very advertiser-friendly of you, was it? And the power-ups themselves aren't amazing, honestly. They don't have many independent uses as they all just kind of fire in front of you or behind you. And yeah, you get massively spun around, but unlike CTR or Mario Kart, you don't lose anywhere near as much momentum, so you can correct yourself after a hit and sometimes even use them to your advantage to cut in front of someone just before you hit the finish line. What I do like about them is that you can obstruct yourself with them if you're careless, like with those heavy 8-balls. They have no specific placements in the stages and actually spring up whenever and wherever they want to, and they can even guard you for one hit if you keep one on you. You can say that makes them a little bit too overpowered in first place since you'll never really need to use them and so can just keep them, but firstly, you'll never know if you misjudge a corner and fall behind, and secondly, if you manage to keep the battery boost for an example, you can use it at special points of the stage to completely obliterate the course and take ridiculous shortcuts just like that.
But somebody's poisoned the water hole!
Yeah, alas, the game is far from perfect, but to explain that first, we need to cover single player. In single player, you have an admittedly high variety of stage types, typical ones like mirrored tracks, normal races of course, and tournaments, but then a lot of others such as finding 5 collectibles in a time limit, playing tag with the other racers, winning the race without getting hit once, time trial survivals when you have to reach the finish line before the time trial runs out, and even battle arenas built for car combat. To start with, if you want to play single player, get ready for
So many fucking levels that are completely and exactly the same, probably, perhaps.
And the thing is, to unlock all of the races and the racers, you need to beat nearly all 200 challenges the game offers and collect a certain number of little green army men to advance. That wouldn't be so bad if more than 3/4 of them weren't exactly the fucking same. I'm not even joking. And before you argue the fact that the different races make the game feel different and therefore provide extra challenges on the same kind of stage, well, no, because every single racer has no kart stats. Yep, they all drive in exactly the same way. When you unlock a character and then start playing as them, you will only notice the major difference being that the AI for the other racers is way more aggressive depending on who you race as. So in essence, you are unlocking difficulty levels disguised as new skins. And even if you skip any challenges that you don't feel like doing at that moment, you can still get the right number of Ali Ermies.
Code Red. You know what to do.
Yes, sir! Let's move!
Elsewhere, but even then it's the same battles, same cups, same survival matches, and same races in the same levels with absolutely no changes whatsoever other than who you are piloting around in your little buggy. Luckily, the driving is never not fun, and many of the challenges do take less than 30 seconds to complete, but others take way too long. Some singular missions take longer than tournaments, and that's even more of a shame because of the effort gone into the names of some of the missions, like flirting around the skirting. For instance, the survival stages where you need to stay ahead of last place or else die, Well, yeah, isn't that kind of what you're doing anyway? You can't win a single race in second place, so you're basically just running a 5-lap race and are never allowed to cross the line in last place, which is not really anything different from any other race in essence. Also, you have battle matches in the game, and in battle matches and tournaments, obviously you need to try and kill each other, and you need to stay alive, and you need to try and get more kills than the other cars. But then there are the tag stages. Oh boy. You basically here have a battle match, but the cars can't kill you, and you don't need to try and get more kills than anybody else. You just need to catch everybody by blowing them up. In battle arenas, these aren't too bad. But when they throw you onto racetracks to do it,
It really gets the snake in my boot.
the AI is built in a way that means that they constantly drive the track like it was a normal race, but as soon as you get in front of them, they turn around and mirror the track. So basically, drop attacks are impossible to use at any point. This also means that you have to constantly catch up to the races and then have a fleeting opportunity to throw something at them. And that's depending on if they're carrying a weapon themselves, which they can do, meaning they can block anything that you throw at them or knock you out, or have you lose a weapon that you were carrying. All the while, you can't die and can't lose until you quit the match or win it, so it goes on as long as you make it. And this level had it out for me, I fucking swear it. These red presents house the best weapon in the game, where you can just come up to someone's vicinity, see their little picture appear on there, and zap them. But here we go, gonna get one. Nope! And how about this one? Hello! Fuck off. And yeah, you're gonna die. I'm gonna get you. Yeah, I'm gonna get you. Yes, die. Fuck you, pothead. The boss stages aren't too bad though, since you have to come first without getting hit once again. Although it is rather odd to see so many clones of beloved movie characters out for your blood. But then I guess they are toys, so I'm not a very observant man.
But how to conclude, though? Basically, the controls and levels are great, and the mechanics are fun and challenging, and for the best experience, multiplayer is where the game shines, but everything else around it doesn't feel worth it at all for all the time you invest into it. And maybe this is just my stupid PAL copy, but I tried the title screen code to unlock everything multiple times and came out with diddly squat, so I'm afraid I can't be asked to get all 200 fucking soldiers on repetitive identical missions that don't contribute to anything else special, and that means that along with everything else, the PAL version of this game forces you to play through the absolute tedium of the majority of the missions just for the chance to get more skins and more tracks to play in the multiplayer, which if you didn't decide to do that, leaves you with only 4 races to pick through at the start of the game if you want to jump into it. Ouch. I mean, don't get me wrong, I personally love unlocking content in my games, and I love the feeling of working towards something and then feeling massively rewarded for it, but Toy Story Racer goes about it in the worst possible way. With too much itty-bitty fluff that is repeated over and over again just to extend the gameplay, seriously. 200 missions that are mostly exactly the same with different racers who drive exactly the same. No incentive to grab anyone else because they all drive the same way, and unlike CTR, instead of more tracks and more racers and less missions for sure, but with more interesting and different gameplay approach missions to unlock everything, Toy Story Racer hasn't got much for you until you invest at least 2 hours into it on your own. Can't even unlock things as you go through the multiplayer matches. So this is a perfect example of quantity over quality, but when the game's good, it's marvellous. So you know what? Half good, half shit. That means this game gets the Slorvage today. Lovely. And of course, as always, if it's your birthday today or watching this video, happy frickin' birthday to you, and please remember to stay beautiful.